In the early 20th century, Boston was a bustling hub of industry and commerce. The city was known for its vibrant neighborhoods, many of which were filled with working-class families, immigrants, and industries that powered the local economy. The North End, one of Boston's oldest and most densely populated neighborhoods, was a patchwork of homes, small businesses, and industrial sites. Despite its charm, the area was also a place where industrial dangers lurked close to home. In those days, safety regulations in America were still in their infancy. Construction sites were hazardous, factories were often death traps, and the workers, many of them immigrants, had little protection against accidents. It was a time when speed and cost efficiency often overshadowed safety concerns. To underline the level of danger in 1919, it is not known exactly, but it is estimated that around 25,000 people died at work in 1919. For comparison, in 2021, 5,190 died. This number is still very high, but you have to consider that the workforce in the USA has almost quadrupled from 1919 to 2021, and yes, one is surely one too many, but that's a whole different story. Isaac Gonzales, a firefighter stationed at Engine 31, was no stranger to the challenges of keeping Boston safe. I have to admit, we did not find a valid image of Isaac. You see, despite his place in this story, he was poorly documented. He could have been one of these guys. Could have looked like this. No, come on! He did not look like this. I really doubt that. Well, in my story, Isaac looked like this. If you have an original photo, please let me know. Well, back to the story. For years, he and his fellow firefighters had watched the molasses tank at the Purity Distilling Company with a wary eye, knowing that it posed a significant risk to the community. On January 15, 1919, Gonzales was on duty when disaster struck. The day had been unseasonably warm, and just after noon, a thunderous explosion shattered the neighborhood. Gonzales and his team immediately rushed to the scene, only to be met with an unimaginable sight. A 25-foot-high wave of molasses was crashing through the streets, destroying everything in its path. Gonzales and his fellow firefighters quickly realized the enormity of the disaster. People were trapped in the thick, sticky molasses, and the air was filled with the cries of the injured and dying. Despite the overwhelming odds, Gonzales and his team worked tirelessly to save as many lives as possible. They battled the molasses, pulling people from the sticky death trap and providing aid to the injured. The neighborhood was in ruins, and the scale of the devastation was unlike anything they had ever seen. In the aftermath of the disaster, Gonzales became one of the first to speak out against the Purity Distilling Company. He was instrumental in bringing the first lawsuit against the company, arguing that their negligence had led to the deaths of 21 people and the injury of 150 others. The lawsuit revealed the shocking truth. The molasses tank had been poorly constructed, with known leaks that the company had tried to cover up. Gonzales's testimony was crucial in exposing the company's negligence and securing justice for the victims. In the end, the court ruled in favor of Gonzales and the other plaintiffs, awarding significant damages to the victims' families. The case set a precedent for holding companies accountable for industrial accidents, leading to new safety regulations that would prevent such a disaster from happening again. For Isaac Gonzales, the Great Molasses Flood was a defining moment in his life. He had not only survived one of the strangest and deadliest disasters in Boston's history, but he had also fought to ensure that the victims received justice. His story is a testament to the courage and resilience of those who stand up against injustice. In the aftermath of the disaster, the city of Boston was in shock. The cleanup was slow and grueling, taking weeks to remove the sticky molasses from the streets, buildings, and even the harbor. The entire North End was left in a state of devastation. For Isaac Gonzales, the days following the flood were filled with grief and determination. He worked tirelessly alongside his fellow firefighters, not only to clean up but also to support the families who had lost loved ones. The bond between the North End community members grew stronger in the face of shared tragedy. The flood's impact extended beyond the physical destruction. It left deep emotional scars on those who lived through it, particularly the families of the 21 victims. Gonzales was particularly close to several of the victims, and their loss fueled his drive to seek justice. As the first lawsuits were filed, Gonzales became a key figure in the legal battle. He not only represented his own losses, but also became a voice for others in the community. His testimony was instrumental in uncovering the truth about the tank's construction flaws and the company's negligence. The trial was a landmark case in United States history, highlighting the need for stricter regulations and corporate accountability. The verdict was a victory not only for the victims, but also for future generations, as it led to significant reforms in building codes and industrial safety standards. For Isaac Gonzales, the legacy of the Great Molasses Flood was bittersweet. While he had succeeded in helping to bring justice to the victims, the memories of that tragic day remained with him for the rest of his life. Yet he took solace in knowing that the disaster had led to a safer, more just society. Today, the Great Molasses Flood is remembered not just for its bizarre and tragic nature, but also for the changes it inspired. It serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, responsibility, and the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity. As we look back on that fateful day in 1919, we honor the memory of those who were lost and those, like Isaac Gonzales, who fought to ensure that their deaths were not in vain. The legacy of the Great Molasses Flood continues to shape our world today, reminding us of the importance of safety, justice, and community.